Thanks very much for coming. As a natural pessimist, when the thoughts thinking ahead to a World Cup in Brazil, I thought it can't possibly happen. That it will happen, and Matt will be there, and I'll be there. It does actually seem to be happening. We're all off to Brazil to do the World Cup, and what a fantastic feeling that is. Obviously, we have plenty of broadcasting competition out there. What I do know, and I saw the BBC make their selection of their five-a-side team who they play. Our five-a-side team would absolutely hammer them, probably 10-1, I would have thought. Okay, no contest whatsoever. So let me introduce the first four names on our tee sheet by the name of Keane, Dixon, Poyet and Wright. Gentlemen, come on up, please. Okay, so where shall we start? Writing, the team then, the England team. Any surprises for you? Ashley Cole, would you take them?
No, I actually mentioned that I think that Leighton Baines, I think he deserves a chance at it now. I'm just starting to Ashley for the time he's been. I feel that Ashley's done fantastic. He's under whatever caps, under his 7 caps. I just feel that it's time now. Maybe get Luke Shaw to watch what Leighton Baines does. I remember when Ashley got in, they were saying that all defensive wise, what's he going to do? I think that Leighton Baines will give us a lot going forward as well. And so, you know, I think it's just time. He's done brilliantly for England, Ash. I think it's time.
That's a good start. I'm going to disagree with him. I think Baines is the rightful left back, first choice left back. But I probably would have taken Ashley Cole. I think he's the one that one of the youngsters, as far as Luke Shaw is concerned, that would perhaps benefit from maybe staying here and playing in the Under-21 tournament, getting some football. He's had an amazing season. There's plenty of time ahead for him. I just feel with Ash that you get something a bit different from what you've got with Baines. If for whatever reason there's an injury or you need to man mark somebody out of the game, I think you bring Ash on and you can mark him up on a winger, and you've got that experience in there. So for me, I would have probably took Ashley Cole.
I think my answer might be trying to help them out as well. If you played over 100 times for your country and you're going to the World Cup, you're not guaranteed to be in the starting 11. I think he's trying to almost be respectful to him as well. So I can say exactly why he left him behind. Because I think if you're in the squad and you're away for 4 or 5 weeks, and they're on about if Baines gets injured, he mightn't get injured. He might play every minute of every game, and I think he might be looking at the morale of the team and lads in the background. And I know if I was in the background, I've played over 100 times, you would get frustrated. The idea of having a young player in the background, just the energy around the hotel and that type of thing, I think that's what probably Roy's thinking about. But no getting rid of him. Ashley Cole's obviously been a brilliant player. And I guarantee when he got the call, said, "Listen, you're not going to be my starting 11 and I'm going to leave you out." I think Ashley might have been, maybe not, probably relieved in the sense of if I'm not going to be starting, it's probably frustrating for any player.
Gus, are you feeling all right? Because you said this game, you said, "I swear this game is killing me." About 5 games. Should we give Gus a round of applause for keeping something
how much I love this. You will know what I mean.
So you can relax and enjoy the World Cup. Would you be relaxed watching Uruguay, or as sort of passionate and as stressed as ever?
Well, I think the game, especially the game against England, is going to be a little bit tense because of obvious reasons, being here for so long and seeing my country playing. At the same time, it's a great experience for me. In my first World Cup, I didn't go as a player, I didn't go as a fan, not even close to a manager, so it's going to be a great experience to be there watching my country and also England, so it's going to be great.
I watched the first game of the 2006 World Cup with you, Wrighty, and I'd never met you before. Your excitement was such that I was quite worried about you. You were going ballistic, and then the second half, I looked over and you were fast asleep. I looked at Dicko and he said, "Is he all right?" You mean, he just wore himself out. It's always like this. But that's how it'll be for you, won't it?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I just love it. I'm just very excited about the squad they've chosen, and very excited about the fact that there's players that are going that ain't really, they're not going to be under that pressure of the so-called golden generation. They can just go as young players and just hopefully in the warm-up games really show why they've been picked. And I just get excited for that. I just get excited for the players that are going there, because like I missed out on all the tournaments. I missed out in '92 in respect of like the Sweden, the Euros, didn't go there. Granddad didn't go. '94, we didn't qualify. '96, Terry Benn left me out. '98, when he told me I was going, I got injured. So I missed out on all the World Cups. It was my dream to go there. So every time they talk about the actual World Cup and getting picked the squad, I get so excited about it. I'm excited for the players. I'm excited for young Stones at Everton. Even him, I saw him on standby, I think, my God, how exciting must he be? So I just get into it. I just get totally immersed with it all.
Normally when we start talking like this, you say something like, relax yourselves. You know,
I said the same to Wright. Let me cry and then all the games.
So what are you looking, apart from hanging around with us, what are you looking for?
I think it's going to be great in the sense that it's always important, I think, the World Cup's at a football nation, and the fact you'd expect Brazil to have a good World Cup, I think that creates something magic, and I think we've already had, obviously, to get past Brazil. There's obviously concerns with the facilities and all that carry on. But you hope that will be sorted out, and it should be a decent World Cup, some good teams going, obviously top players will be there. Obviously not sure how England are going to get on. Obviously they've got some good young players coming through. It's still a big ask to go over there in them conditions and to get to a quarter-final or semi-final. I think it'll be very difficult for them.
What we keep hearing is that no European side has won a tournament in South America. We've told it over and over again. Well, why not? What goes on there? That's different. It's the same size pitch, isn't it? Why would it not be possible for the European side to win there?
I think the whole atmosphere, the system, the pitches, the heat, everything that we set up in South America is to complicate you as much as we can. Any advantage that we can take, I think that, for example, the qualification for the World Cup in South America is the hardest in the world. You go to Colombia and they play at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because it's 40 degrees. Then you go to La Paz in Bolivia and you play over 3,000 meters and you can't breathe. And then the next minute you play in Brazil with grass like that, you cannot see your boots. There is always something to make you suffer and take advantage. So we will do it again. We will try at least, because it's a way of understanding and playing football. Any little thing that you can do.
But played against him, so I know exactly what he's talking about.
But
It's talking about the good things, not the bad.
But in the global game, quite seriously, it's not like, say, Mexico, when the pitches were, you know, horrendous. We played there in the World Cup. The pitches are all going to be the same now. Things have evened out. But, you know, world football has got smaller, hasn't it?
I think it's also the atmosphere that the fans they create, that you feel that you have to win. It's a little bit more of a responsibility from Brazil now, which is going to be one of the national teams to be there at the end. And Argentina with Messi. I think there is teams in South America now, they go to another level. We saw a few games later, you know, teams that nobody's expecting to do well from South America, and maybe they're going to be big surprises. So it's difficult, it's different. I think it's just different. You're used to playing Europe, just going across the Atlantic is a totally different experience.
What about Uruguay? Should we be concerned about them?
I think Uruguay got something different to most, that when we get together for a month before any tournament, we become a proper group of players together. And that month training, living, knowing each other, brings something special into the game that you don't see in other national teams.
What is that?
I think it's a way that we live football, we learn to play football, we care for each other, we represent the country in a certain way, we die to play for the national team. You know, when I hear people pulling out national teams everywhere in the world, it makes me sick. It's something that we...
So nobody retires from playing something? Nobody...
I think it was
time
that
you retire.
If you retire, it's because of the new society, but I can tell you during my time, we were not allowed to draw against Venezuela or to think about retiring. It's something that was over any other expectation, and you live with that, and you learn that, and you play like that because you know how important it is.
What kind of style of football do you think we're going to get, Roy? Is it going to be the attacks or defences that are winning? We seem to be in an era where the teams without the ball are finding ways to win.
Yeah, there has been that trend over the last few months, but the stats will tell you the more possession you have, the more chance you win the football matches. You know, there'll be teams going to the tournament. I'm sure their plans will be to have decent possession, but it mightn't pan out that way. the obvious teams will keep going. Any major tournament comes around, particularly the World Cup, will be the same big hitters: Brazil, Uruguay, the Argentina, the teams, Spain, Germany, teams that obviously will have most of the possession, but doesn't mean to say they won't be the odd result or the odd shot where the team defends. But the conditions will play a big part in it. That's why I think it will be very, very difficult for England. I still don't think they keep the ball well enough. But having said that, they've got some match winners and they'll be good on the counter-attack. So a lot will depend on how the games pan out. It might be the plan of the manager at the moment, particularly for the England manager, but when the games take shape, that's the way it might fall into place. But you can't see beyond the usual teams.
Well, I think as far as England's chances are concerned, I really do think that there's an optimism. There always is leading up to, but I think with this group of players that Roy's picked, there is balance. There's the the new generation, if you like. They've all had exceptional seasons, apart from maybe you look at the two Man United lads who are in there, Jones and Smalling. They're perhaps the only two that are not really in on merit. But I just feel defensively, that's where they're there. I think they will score some goals. We've got exciting players, but I think defensively it's an area that concerns me at the moment. Sitting back, looking at the squad, going, that's one of the reasons why I would have took Ash, just for that little bit of extra. But if you don't get any injuries, then Cahill and Jagielka are more than capable of the way they played this season of keeping teams out. But I agree with Roy. I think keeping the ball over there is essential.
Do you think that there's, so without getting to the no easy games cliche, do you think it's kind of narrowed down the gap between the top teams and the lesser teams? I mean, there's something like Belgium, for example, who could go all the way, all their top players played to their best. Who knows? There's loads of teams in that category.
Yeah, there is. When you look at when people are talking about Belgium, and they should be as well. They've got a lot of players all over Europe that are playing very well. Yes, Ben Teke's out, so he might be the player to score goals. Is Lukaku going to be able to step up and score goals and really blast Belgium into, like, I don't know, the next stages? So as people just say, oh yeah, they were favourites and they're dark horses, I should say. And then they can realise that potential. It's even with Brazil. I believe that Brazil, with everything that's going on, all the politics and everything that's going on over there, I think they're going to be under immense pressure. Someone like Neymar is going to be under a lot of pressure. And if they start badly, then, you know what I mean? We're talking about, like, Roy and that saying, like, the usual. So I think it's going to come down to, like, for even with us in England, what's there to be afraid of? I think we're going in with as least amount of expectation I've ever seen England go into a tournament with. You know what I mean? Yes, it was a very easy group to get out. We made it, and that's the main thing. And now he's picked a team, like Dicko said, there's a lot of optimism in that team. People talk about, oh, are we going to be able to keep it? Aren't we going to be able to keep it? We'll find out, because we've got warm-up games going into that. And we've got young players, got the exuberance of youth. So I'm very much quite positive about it. Like, when we talk about Belgium, I'm excited about Belgium, I'm excited about Portugal, because of Cristiano Ronaldo. Maybe he's got something to say to the world in respect of he's done everything. So, I'm very, very excited about the whole thing, but even more so about England. Let's face it, I can't lie about that.
What's the most punishing heat you've played in?
I played in Brazil. I played there with United. We played the World Club Championship, and it was very, very difficult, let me tell you. So it's going to be, and I know what you're saying, players are almost getting used to different environments, but they're in for a massive shock, because particularly, again, when you haven't got the ball, your recovery, and then when you do get the ball, you're absolutely shattered and stating the obvious. So that would have been the worst conditions I've played in, and we found it very difficult, and we were a half-decent team.
So Miami's the best build-up for England, I suppose. That's the closest you're going to get to it.
Yeah, I think it's always important that you go into the World Cup with some similarities. It's impossible to find exactly the same, but the more you can. Apart from that, I think the situation is how the players are going to react, how the group is going to get together, and the style of play that you're going to play with.
So can I just get a winner from each of you and an outsider? Who's going to a winner?
Argentina, and I'm going to go, depending on his fitness, Portugal, outsider.
I'm going to go bias. I'm going to go Brazil
And an outsider?
and Uruguay because of that.
Argentina, and because I think it's between them and Brazil, so an outsider of Germany.
Brazil for me, and outsider again, due to Klassenberg, maybe Germany.
Okay. Give them a round of applause. You'll have Great stuff. Can't wait to get there. Can't wait to work with the following as well. Patrick Vieira, Andros Townsend, Andy Townsend and Gordon Strachan. Gentlemen, please come up, please. Andros, you're right. You need help there. So Andros, what a rotten bit of luck then. How you feeling now?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I've had the operation last week, and hopefully I can get back for time for pre-season. But obviously it's devastating to not be World Cup year and to not be available for the selection. But for me, this is the next best thing. I get to go out to Brazil and experience it still, and hopefully it gives me that added incentive to come back stronger.
We were talking to Roy Hodgson last week, and he was saying at least you've got time on your side. You've got other World Cups in you looking ahead, which must mean something.
Yeah, Roy gave me a call and he basically just said that, like you just said, I've got time on my side, and he's looking forward to welcoming me back into the fold when I'm fit. So that's good for me. Obviously, I was down a bit, and obviously a call from the manager cheered me up a bit.
All right, excellent. Gordon, you played in South America. I think you told me you were playing Brazil, was it? You were in the tunnel, and you were comparing your Scottish bodies to the magnificent South Americans. Who was that?
Yeah, it was actually in Spain in '82 when it was years before we got six packs in Britain. When you play against Brazilians, I think it's all skill. The core strength of them is phenomenal. And we were stripped off. It was that so warm, it was 110 degrees in Seville, so we took the strips off, but they did the same. And then they lined up and went, oh, better put the strips back on. Big out the creases off, squatty chest. These guys had six packs, so it's horrendous. But they're special players, and they're correct in what they're saying, the conditions over there. When we played that day in Seville, the Brazilians, because they're so powerful, made sure the grass was long. As Gus was saying, they made sure the grass was long and the ball moved slowly, and they use their strength when it gets to kind of 1-for-1s.
So it's like one of those dreams where you're walking through treacle and you can't quite run in it.
Yeah, I walked for about 70 minutes and never touched the ball. If you remember rightly, David Neary scored that wonder goal to put us 1-0 up. It just annoyed them, because they went and scored 4 after that. If you actually watch the celebrations, nobody celebrated with David Neary, because we all just look at him and go, what have you done? A Tonkin now, which was quite right. We got a Tonkin after that.
Andy, you were saying earlier that it's a difficult time this now for the players between the season finishing and then going off there. It's supposed to be a benefit to have a rest, but you could just end up sitting at home getting anxious about it.
Yeah, well, you can do. I mean, it's interesting when I read this morning, Wayne Rooney's taking a couple of fitness trainers with him to wherever he is in Portugal or something right now. He's taking a couple of people with him to keep him right. Because you do have that couple of weeks where naturally you want to have a rest and you just want to sort of switch off from everything, get away maybe with the family for a bit, but you don't want it to go too far in the other direction, because then you're going to be working extra hard when you meet up. So it's a tough little spell sometimes, this. You know, you do have to have a breather, but you've also got to, I think, try and keep an eye on what you're doing, you know. And it's difficult now because a lot of the younger guys, you know, they want to jet off here, there and everywhere, and I'm sure Roy's probably quite concerned. I'm sure Gordon as well, keeping an eye on his Scottish boys. They don't like a drink, the Scottish lads. Gordon can sleep very comfortably now, and they'll all be tucked up in bed up in Scotland, and they won't be going anywhere. But it's... But it's a difficult one. I think you just got to try and look after yourself as best you can.
Patrick, what can we learn from you as a World Cup winner? What's the secrets to winning it, apart from having lots of great players, obviously? Can you remember the build-up to France '98?
Really exciting. It was as a player, you work really hard through the season because you want to perform in the World Cup. But you can't win a World Cup if your best player won't perform. In the '98, Zidane was at his best, he was at his peak of the game. And I believe that if England or Brazil want to win or want to go to the last 4 in the World Cup, their best players have to perform. And if we're talking about Rooney, if Rooney is at his best, England will have a chance to win the World Cup. But I think they're still far away from England.
What about from Brazil's point of view, being the home nation? You seem to draw more strength from it than feel the pressure in '98. Could the pressure get to the Brazilians? The weight of expectation It's huge. As Scolari said, we have a duty to win the World Cup. A duty. It's almost an obligation to win the World Cup. That's massive.
In front of your own fans, you have the obligation to do well. You have the obligation to win the World Cup. I remember in France in '98, it was a lot of pressure on our shoulder, game after game, and when you get into the final and every game the pressure was building up, it's a nation, all the nation, everybody wants to do well, and you feel the pressure. But in Brazil, it's going to be worse, because we're talking about Brazil. This is a country of football, and it's going to be a lot of pressure on the players' shoulder.
But do you think they can weather that and take strength from it? They're not going to buckle.
But it depends how you're going to use the pressure, how you're going to deal with the stress. And in '98, to be honest, I think the French camp did manage really well, because we didn't have any idea what was going on outside, because the TV wasn't working, and they tried to isolate the players and not try to have so many contact with the outside world. So we was really focused on our job, on our games, on the way we was training every day. And I think the players in Brazil, they will have to do the same, try to not get influence what's going on outside.
Andros, you played at the highest level, obviously, but when you're pitch side watching some games for us, will you be in awe of the messes of this world and so on? I remember seeing a warm-up standing next to you at Barcelona or Real Madrid looking for a Champions League game. I just remember you've been everywhere and everywhere, just your jaw just dropped watching them just knock the ball to each other. You know, do you feel like that? You're still in awe of the top players in the game?
I think that the likes of Lionel Messi, the players I haven't seen or played against, I will be in awe a bit. But it'll be great to go out there and see the best players play and on the high stage and see which ones can perform and which ones don't. So I'm looking forward to it.
Who do you think is going to win?
The tournament?
Yeah.
I'd love to say England.
They can't do it without you, Andros.
I think Germany looking strong. They've got some great players coming through, the young players who they trusted in the last World Cup, players like Ozil, Vieira, players like that, which they're hopefully this World Cup going to see that it's going to pay off for them. So I'm going to go for Germany.
It's difficult to call who's going to be the top players of the tournament. Who would have seen Scalacci coming in, say, in 1990? But who are you looking forward to seeing? Who could make a name for himself?
I just like I think I can see Messi and Aguero in the same team. For me, they're true that, you know, you're talking about when we're watching them warming up Messi. I think you're talking about these great players that won with the ball. It's part of them, whatever it comes to them, they just relax and ball. And Aguero and Messi, I think they're the greatest danger to Brazil to winning it. Brazil's other danger, I think, could be indiscipline. With the fact that they've got to win it, if you actually look at Brazil, they're quite indisciplined at times, the players in the world. I think that the pressure might, as Patrick said, it might be too much for them. I think there's only two ways they can lose it. I think that Argentina play well, Messi and Aguero play well, and indiscipline to Brazil, that can be their undoing. I just want to see great players. And I think that the tournament should be, because defensively everybody can actually put up a bit of defensive shield, because we're talking about that. But the days now, the striker's not the main man, it's the people behind them. There's three people who usually play behind a striker. The Hazards, Messi's, the Guerreros, and these kind of people. They can win games for you. And I hope that the tournament's won by these people, not by anything defensively.
It's odd really that the best team does always tend to win the World Cup, isn't it, Andy? You don't get outsiders winning like you do in the Euro. Like you do in the Champions League, actually. You don't have to be the best team in Europe to win the Champions League.
Yeah, it is going to be such an undertaking, I think, for any European team to go to Brazil and come out victorious. It's going to be incredibly difficult. I can't quite see any of the European teams being able to do that. I like the rest of the guys, tend to go with Argentina. I think they've got so many fabulous forward-going players, but any team that has Zabaleta playing at the back and Garay playing at the back and these sort of players that are absolute top draw boys, Gordon, aren't they? They're fabulous footballers, and I think that if they click, if they do, and I know it is a big if, because they've kind of disappointed in the past post-Maradona, but I just think that with what they have up front, if they get it going, I think they have got enough behind them to be very successful. And I'm also looking forward to seeing Chile play. I thought Chile were excellent here at Wembley. I thought they're a really exciting team to watch. They play very direct, very fast, very aggressive, and I think they'll also be a team that you wouldn't want to play if they get out of the groups in a one-off game.
How's the game changed since '98, Patrick, in the way the game of football is played? We were very much in the professional athletes era in '98, weren't we? What about the pattern of play? How is it different now?
I think now you've got managers, young managers come in and try to play some really attractive football. I think the game is faster, you've got quicker players, and the games I think is more direct now. I think you have different system where in Italy now they are a big fan of 3 at the back, with a 5 midfield. Tactically I think we're going to see some teams playing a different way. So it's going to be quite, I think, tactically quite exciting World Cup.
Different in what way?
In the way that you have teams who, because of the climate of Brazil, teams will be maybe more defensively. We have teams who can be more compact and difficult to break. And you have the teams who got pace and who will want to play counter-attack like Chile. So depends which system the manager will want to play, but I think it will be quite really attractive football.
Could you see any tactical changes the way it's happened? See some more. How would you like to be part of a defence that says, right, we're playing Brazil, we're just going to keep them out, we're going to park the buses or whatever the South American equivalent is?
I think I'm a naive 22-year-old, so I'd love to see 4-4-2, 2 pacey wingers and have a go, but I understand that you're going to a difficult place, you're going to have to secure up the defence and maybe play with 2 holding players. So I understand that side as well.
I've got a footballer describes themselves as a naive 22-year-old. That commends me greatly to you. That's great. Do you have any naive 22-year-olds in the Scottish setup at the moment, Gordon?
Naive 57-year-old man. No, but when I look at it this now, I think when you ask me what's going to happen, I think whatever you've got, you play to strength. It's like Man City, people say you can't play with 2 strikers, they do it every week. All they do is now on the floor in midfield and let the fullbacks go on. Whatever your strengths are, you play to them. I don't think there's you have to play this way to win it. It's whatever your strengths are. If you've got 3 great centre halves, you're going to let everybody else go on with it, let it flow. So that's the exciting thing about it. I'm hoping it doesn't come down to tactics. I hope it comes down to player. I think it's a festival of football. That's what you want to see. You always want to come away from a World Cup thinking, that's when he made the breakthrough. He could be the greatest footballer ever now. This could be the time when Messi said he is the best player of all time, or Ronaldo can do it. Or what's it, Aguero? There's so many great players. I can't remember so many great players going into a World Cup, individually great.
Yeah, in terms of strikers, in particular for me, I think when I think of the strikers that were involved this summer, and it's a shame if Falcao isn't going to be fit, even though they're talking that he's desperately scrambling to try and get himself there for Colombia. But when you think of, it's still early days for Neymar, but he's such an exciting prospect with Messi, with Aguero, with Van Persie, with Rooney, with Balotelli, with, my goodness, you can just keep going, Alexis Sanchez, these guys just keep going on and on and on. I don't think I've ever seen a collection in any of the tournaments that I've ever commentated on or worked on, going in with it where there's such a group of strikers that are pretty much all of them at the so-called peak of their powers. And I think that bodes fantastically well for the summer. I really do. I think the owners will be on attacking football because I think that's where the strength of all these teams really lies.
So who do you fancy then? Who would you make a case for other than Brazil?
I think the rest of the guys are looking forward to look at the German. The German have a good chance because of the way they played and the numbers of the players from Bayern Munich. And I'm looking forward to look at Kroos and Götze. I think there's 2 really young, talented players.
You've been a dangerous underdog at a World Cup. Pick a dangerous underdog for us.
Well, again, I mentioned Chile because I think that are they an underdog in South America? I don't think so. I'm sure any of the teams that play against them won't take them lightly at all. I am looking forward to seeing Belgium play because I can't even pick their starting 11. They've got that many fabulous players. I think to try and pick their best 11 is an ordeal in itself. They have a great opportunity with such a talented group if they can get the balance right and somehow stitch it together on the day. But I am looking forward to seeing them.
Who would you look forward to winning?
Underdogs?
Well, give us an underdog and give us a winner.
England is your underdog. Because I think they've got players in there that can eliminate people now. I wasn't sure until the squad was picked. Barkley can go and beat people. Lallana can go and beat people, which I've not had for a while. He might have had it a wee bit up front, but in midfield to eliminate people, I think they could do well. I actually think England could do well. I hope nobody reprints this anywhere. Anywhere in Scotland.
Andros, what, come the final when England have won it and you want to go running onto the pitch to join in the celebrations, will your leg be ready by then?
Yeah, I'm taking a fitness coach out with me to Brazil, and I'm going to be doing some running during my off days, getting fit for the new season.
We all take fitness coaches with us on ITV Sport. Try and physical condition. Okay, gentlemen, give them a round of applause.